Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show on this January 18th, 2023, a Wednesday. Thank you for tuning in. I'm glad to have you guys here. Now, I'll tell you what. An awful lot of people, they believe in a lot of different things in this day and age. But one of the things I believe in is that we are in what was referred to in ancient times as the end of times right now. And I refer to this period in time as the convergence. If you study the ancient world and a technology that they had before we had in technology, but their technology was a little bit different. It actually revolved around math. Yes, the ancients knew about the precessions, the precession and the their astronomical knowledge was probably better than what we have today. Uh, they had a great amount of knowledge that we didn't know about. Plus, a lot of the writers in the scriptures, and yes, I'm going to mention it, the Bible, they claimed something that they called divine inspiration. An awful lot of the Bible writers, they claimed divine inspiration. And what does that mean? What is the word divinity? Well, they often said it was from God, but the real truth of the matter, if we get down to the nitty-gritty of it, is that whether it's from God or whatever this divinity is, it's a non-human intelligence. So whether it's true or whether it's not true, this claim of divine inspiration is besides the point. But the point is what they were actually saying is that they were receiving knowledge from a non-human intelligence or a non-human agency. And they made predictions of the future from that knowledge that they received. And also the Mayans. We all know about their end time calendar and how December of 2012 was in the Mayan calendar, the end times. Well, perhaps it was. Perhaps it was the beginning. An awful lot of people said, well, it's the end of the world. The world's going to be destroyed in 2012. Well, it didn't happen. The world wasn't destroyed. But perhaps it was the start of a period of time that we're in, and we're getting deeper in. And this is perhaps why we see all of these events unfolding rapidly, one after another. You almost can't take it in. It's happening so fast. This is like a speeding up period to something really huge coming in our very near imminent future. And you can see it yourself. Everything changed actually in 2012, going back to 2012, when the changes started to actually began, and they've been speeding up. This is a quickening. And we're going into a period that I refer to as a convergence. Now, I know more about this from my research, but I can't get into it right now because this show would take far too long. But the outcomes of humanity in this convergence period, it goes back to the cycle of if you went to an Egyptian temple, there's Egyptian temples where you can see all of the 12 signs of the zodiac represented in the Egyptian forms of the signs of the zodiac, completing this circle that is what they refer to as a great year, which is a little bit more than 26,000 years long. 26,000 and change. I think it's 26,577, something that I'm just quoting off the top of my head, but something to that effect. Anyway, where we go through these ages, and each age lasts a little bit more than 2,000 years. And right now we've just passed one age, and we've entered into the age of Aquarius. This is the age that we've entered into right now. And this convergence is when all of this cycle. See, we always think of time as being linear. What if time is not linear? What if time is actually a loop? Now, I don't want to get into these theories right now because this is all they really are, is theories that I'm postulating. But we could be seeing the effects of more than just these theories. We could be seeing, like a person, I mean, say they get a skin rash, and they don't know what it is. So they go to the doctor, and the doctor says, this is a sign of an underlying disease that you have that the person didn't even know they had. They thought they just had a skin rash. Well, all these things that we're seeing, the crazy weather, the markets in the world, all over the Western world getting ready to, and look at the troubles they're having in places like China, and the troubles they're having in places like Russia, and the troubles that we're having over here in the West. All of these things might be like the skin rash. That's the visible part of it. But what I'm saying is there might be an underlying disease that's causing all these things that is related to the ancient things that we really haven't really explored fully. So, I'm doing some shows over on Delta Report right now where I'm exploring some of these mysteries. I'm going to explore the mysteries, and I'm also going to explore the conspiracies. And this is what I'm working on now at Delta Report. It's high time because I really haven't got into these shows so much. And originally when I started my channel, I said that this is going to be part of the Delta Report. So anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit, but what we're seeing is the culmination right now of a financial system that was set up on a Ponzi scheme back in 1914, and right now we're nearing that culmination where they can only carry this so far before it's like a time bomb. The financial system blows up. This is because of what's called over leverage. It's on an exponential. The entire world's Western financial system, including all the different currencies that make up the dollar basket. If you don't know what that is, the DXY, the dollar index, is part of what's called a dollar basket. It makes up a number of different currencies like the Swiss franc, the Canadian dollar, the Japanese yen, the euro, and so on. The euro makes up the biggest part of it. Okay? So, it's all a Ponzi. An elaborate Ponzi scheme set up by the Federal Reserve that has to come to a culmination. And we've seen the dollar lose around 97% of its purchasing power, and what's left is going fast. The end game is zero. That's what the dollar will be worth. And we're finally seeing the dollar index has been turning downwards. I've had it on my screen here for a little bit. But we're going to go through the markets right now. And what I'm basically trying to tell you guys is the rug's being pulled out from underneath all of you. But very, very slowly. And when we all fall, well, we might fall kind of fast. When we finally lose that stability or balance, everything might come down rather quickly, even though it's been very slow up till now because the rug's been pulled out very slowly. And on my channel, a lot of you guys are just, you've been waiting. I've been saying these things for years. Same thing, a lot of the same things, and I've been telling you. But the thing about it is you're saying, well, Glenn, it hasn't happened yet. Well, it is happening. And it's actually happening faster than you would think. It's like bamboo. I'll just use this illustration real quick before I get into the markets. Bamboo is one of the quickest growing plants around. It can grow up overnight in your yard. It can sprout and grow several. It grows really fast. But if you sit there and you look at it, you don't see it growing. But if you put a time-lapse camera on it, you can see it. It's alive and growing. And that's the way with this crisis that's unfolding right now. If you examine it on a day-to-day basis, it seems like it's not even moving. But in fact, it's moving very quickly toward a conclusion. Okay, let's get into the markets. Let's take a look at the silver price today. We're up 10 cents on the day so far at 24.01. You got to understand, the fundamentals behind physical silver are astronomically good. Better than anything else you'll ever buy in your life. So when you spend money to buy physical silver, even though you have to pay a little bit of a premium, eventually you're going to look back and say, hey, you know, that premium wasn't so much considering what this silver attained me. It attained me a way of preserving my wealth through a massive crisis that was unfolding. And Glenn was on there. He told me that this crisis was moving in slow motion, but it was here and it was ongoing. And sure enough, as time went by, it unfolded, and this silver saved my butt. It saved me from tremendous amount of pain that I would have undergone if I hadn't had some silver in my portfolio when the system came down and the dollar went to zero. Even if you only have a little bit, stackers come in all different sizes and shapes. Okay, guys, I'm telling you, stackers come in all different sizes and shapes. Some stackers only have like 5 ounces. And they're as happy over that 5 ounces and they're trying to add to it. And then other stackers have 1,000 ounces or whatever. But they come in all different shapes and sizes and amounts that they have of precious metals. But they're all stackers. This is what they share in common. They're all stackers. They're all saving in silver. A certain amount of their money in silver. Actually, it's the best form of money. And you know, join the ranks. Join up and become a stacker. Even if you just put away 1 silver dime once a month. And almost anybody can afford that. I mean, you take 1 bite now of a McDonald's burger or whatever, you know, or one little thing, and you could afford a dime just from a couple bites of food. That's how cheap it is right now, silver. A silver dime. Pre-1964 silver dime. Put it away for yourself. And do that on a consistent basis. Excuse me. And now you're a stacker. You join the ranks. And if everybody in the world became stackers, there wouldn't be any silver left to be had. Anyway, listen, guys, let's go on to the cryptocurrency today and take a look. We're looking at, it's cracked a trillion. It's cracked a trillion again for the first time in a long time. 1,3,888,497,448 Hooray, it's back over a trillion. Bitcoin today is 21,325, $21,325, and $1,580 for Ethereum. And it's gaining a little bit of support. Can it gain traction? Well, we wait and see. Dow Jones Industrial Average is 104.88 down at 33,805. Let's take a look at our S&P 500, which is at 39.91, and it's even with the board today so far. Oil today is at 81.99. Now, oil's been taking a pop up, and you're probably wondering why. Well, China's cranking up their machine again. What is a China machine? Well, you know, every time you buy something on Amazon, generally it comes from China. And who makes it? China. And how do they make it? They start up their factories and they make it. And since they've ended COVID-0, they're starting factories, some of them back up again, and they require oil. And so because they require oil, the demand for oil goes up. Demand for oil goes up, so does the price. $81.99, so you're probably soon going to start to see an increase at the price at the pump. Where they're gouging you guys. At the pump. They're gouging you. You know what it means by gouging you? It means that they buy the crude a hell of a lot cheaper than they sell it for. It's all ridiculous. So ridiculous, you know. Everybody came along. They came along when they first came along, you know, and back when they didn't use oil for anything, back before the industrial age, you know. They came along and the oil was bubbling out of the ground. Just like spring water comes bubbling out of the ground. It's free for everybody who wants to take it. And you got people come in like Rockefellers and stuff, with their Standard Oil and all that, and they started to sell the stuff. Come out of the ground basically practically for free, and they started to put it in barrels and started to sell it. And then they've spun off from there and they've made themselves. Did you know old Rockefeller? I think that he had the amount of money in today's dollars that he had, he would be so rich, like it's almost $200 billion. He'd be rich, or 300 billion or something, massive amounts of money. Who was it? I remember during the Great Depression, they used to go around and they used to give dimes away. One of these rich guys, I can't remember which one it was, but he would get off of an airplane or whatever. He had tons and tons they had tons of money, and they'd like give people dimes or something. I can't remember which one it was. I remember that though; it stuck in my mind. Anyway, bonds and rates today, we're seeing falling yields all the way across the board. We're looking at a 10-year at 3.4. It's down 1.31 basis points. We're looking at a 30-year at 3.56, and it's down, what was that, 0.7 basis points. Oh, is that 10 basis points? No, wait, down on the 10-year. No, that's 12 basis points down, isn't it? Yeah. Am I getting my numbers right? Yeah, I think so. Down 12 basis points. It's quite a little drop in yields. The dollar today is at 101.93, and it's been falling. Not surprising, but you think it's fell now. Of course, it's being compared against a bunch of other currencies that are not as good as the dollar. So it's hard for it to fall. I think what they should actually compare it against is something that has real tangible value. That we see the dollar DXY collapse if that happened, And compare it against the price of canned beans. And right now the dollar index would have went from 114 in the past couple months, and right now it would be down around 40 if it was compared against a can of beans. Because the price of food has been going up like 100%. So that means the dollar index would have got cut in half if it was compared against the price of food. But what do we all generally buy with our dollars? Nowadays, I'm going to tell you guys what. Used to be, all the time I was growing up, most of my adult life, here in the West, food only made up a very small part of everybody's income. So I didn't worry about buying food or feeding somebody. It wasn't a big problem because you took your income in and maybe you'd spend, I don't know, hardly anything on food. Food wasn't not a big deal, not a big cost. Well, that percentage, I don't know what it would be. Hard to tell what it would be for the average person back then when I was younger, of their income. Maybe 5% or something of their income, or even less of their income would be spent on food every month. And then it was slowly creeping up to and lately it's been exploding. And for a lot of people, almost half of their income goes to food. Well, how are you going to buy food if 3/4 of your income or 7/8 of your income goes for paying for things like rent and taxes and everything else? You got nothing left for food. Or balance it the other way. Then at that point, you're caught. You're trapped. You got to balance it the other way because you want to eat. So you got to balance it the other way, and you're not getting your other bills paid because you got nothing left for food. This is the situation that they have got us into. I'm going to tell you something. They are sleepwalking toward total disaster. That in 3 or 4 years from now, if they're left to continue on this sleepwalking toward this disaster, and I'm talking about the ones who run this earth, a few thousand people who actually, over the billions that live here, the few thousand, which is a very small minority, it's not even 1%, who are sleepwalking us toward disaster, if they get their way, not only will they be gone from the earth in about a few years from now, just a few short years from now, not only will they be gone from the earth, but all of us will too. The earth will be empty of people. All that'll be left here is things like scorpions, things that can withstand radiation, life forms that can withstand radiation will be all that's left here on the Earth. So they're hell-bent not only just on destroying all the 8 billion people, but the ones who are in charge too will destroy themselves. There's only one group out there that can save us from that destruction so that humanity lives on. And that's the people. The majority of the people. So the minority can't save us. They're going to drive this bus right over the cliff, and it's all going to burn. It's the minority is going to do that. They're on the bus, and they're just too greedy, or too striving for power, or striving for all the things that they want, because it's a certain type of person that becomes the leaders. And they're just hell-bent on continuing and taking it for themselves. They don't care. They're on the bus, and they're looking around at all the other leaders, and they're like, I want what's mine, and I'm not going to get off of this bus. And the bus is going to go over a cliff. The only one with the common sense to stop the bus and stop all of this damage from happening in the next very few short years is the people. The people got to say, hey, you know what? We don't want the end of humanity. We want to preserve our species alive so that I mean, what does it matter if they got all this talk about they want to preserve the earth and everything else? Well, the earth will preserve itself. The earth will take care of itself. When humanity's gone, the earth will take care of itself. But I mean, when the last person takes their last breath on this planet, the last human, okay, the earth will take care of itself. But say it turns itself back into a paradise, which it probably would. It would turn itself back into an inhabitable planet that would be full of whatever. But there wouldn't be any people here. So you've achieved what you wanted. You've got a paradise planet again, all beautiful and everything, and fresh air and everything to breathe and everything. It might take 10,000 years for the radiation to disappear, but eventually it'll go back, right? There'll be rainforests again, everything else. You got this beautiful planet, but there's nobody there to see it. Because humanity's all gone. There's not. The last one died out ages ago, and you can see their skeletons someplace in a cave someplace, and that's what's left of humanity. Who the hell cares if the Earth's perfect again? There's nobody to see it. Because right now there might be as many beautiful, pristine planets out there as there are sands of grain on the ocean. Out there in space, there might be thousands of beautiful habitable planets, with nobody living on them, nobody to see. So who the hell cares if the Earth has gone back to having rainforests again if there's nobody here to see it? That's all I'm saying. So we got to get off of this destructive course that we're on. And we got to do it fast. And the destructive course is being caused by the leaders because they're the ones driving the bus. They got their foot on the gas pedal and they got their hands on the steering wheel. And all the front seats of the bus are all filled with them. We're way in the back of the bus, where somebody is where it smells like a urinal. We're way in the back. We're not allowed to come to the front of the bus. We're not even allowed to step foot into the aisle to try to move toward the front of the bus. They keep us in our place back in the back, and right in the back of the bus, the back section, where it smells like vomit back there. And they keep us back there, and they keep us in. It's almost like that. Didn't they make a movie? I forget what it was called, with Big Train or something. They had all the poor people in the back of the train. It was some science fiction movie or something. I can't remember what it was, but they were the last people on Earth or something, and they were traveling around some train or something. That's all I can remember. And all of the rich people had the front of the train, and all the poor people had the back or something. There was a similar type of movie too, where they had this this where all the rich people went up to some space station above the Earth, and they were all living up there in luxury, and it left everybody down here to die or whatever, to starve or whatever else. I remember some science fiction movie. Anyway, listen, guys, I'm rambling a little bit. Thank you guys for listening to my show. Like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the very next episode. Bye-bye.